Hey everybody, it's Tyler from Mountaineer Journey. We're here to review the Merrell Moab 3. The Merrell Moab 3 has been a very popular hiking boot among hikers over the past few years. Stay tuned for my full review and find out why this is such an excellent hiking boot. Hey everybody, what's up? It's Tyler back here from Mountaineer Journey. We're going to review the Merrell 3 Moab. Let's get right into it. So this boot is definitely a very popular choice among hikers. You usually won't go on a trail without passing somebody wearing the Merrell 3 Moabs. It is one of the most popular hiking boots out there, and that is for a great reason. The Merrell 3 Moabs were released in 2022. The Model 2 was great, however, the third iteration has better comfort, stability, and traction. They added the Vibram outsole, which we will go over in a few minutes, and it has been getting raving reviews. Key features about this boot: the price right now is $140. That's about mid for a hiking boot. Higher end hiking boots, you're gonna pay over $200. Those are the more higher end models with features that you don't necessarily need for hiking. And then usually under $100 are the more affordable brands, but usually break down more easily. However, that's not always the case. So $140 is about midway there. Pretty budget hiking boot if you were to ask me. We rated these a 9.4 out of 10. So let's talk about the categories we're gonna go over. We're gonna go over comfort, traction, overall protection, water resistance, weight, fit, durability, and design. So starting with comfort, we rated these an 8 out of 10. As you can see, the toe box on these shoes are pretty wide, and this is a regular fitting boot. However, they do come in a wide fit. At a first glance, when you look at them, it is a pretty wide and robust shoe compared to other shoes that are more narrow, to be completely honest. So I'm really curious what the wide fit model would look like, because there's more than enough room in these boots, and I actually have a wide set foot, so I would be very curious if I got a wide model how they would feel. They may be too wide, to be completely honest. Going to the midsole, it has great cushioning. Merrell has made their own sole for this shoe. As you can see, it's got the Merrell brand in there. A lot of brands are now using Ortholite, which is a great choice. However, the midsole on this boot is very comfortable. In terms of moving towards the heel for comfort, I've had excellent cushioning in that area, zero blisters. I didn't have any sort of heel slipping, and I did not need to use any special lacing techniques. Also, I want to bring up this point is the ankle cuff. It's made out of this different synthetic material, as you can see, compared to the rest of the boot. It fits very nicely and snugly around your ankle, and there's no sort of itching. It's a very soft synthetic material. I don't know exactly what it is, and I tried looking it up and I could not find the answer, but all I have to say is that it fits well compared to most other boots. So when we look at the tongue of this boot and the top, there's only one metal eyelet. Usually there's 2 or 3. If you look at the Hokas, they actually have 3. If you want the most stability, usually 2 eyelets are the best, because it will go up even higher, and then you can really tighten down and restrict that ankle when you're moving through the trails. This boot also has a gusseted tongue, as you can see right in here, which means it does not allow debris or anything to get in there. The tongue is attached to the boot itself. It's not a separate entity that's sewn in, so it prevents any water or debris getting in whatsoever. Traction, we rated these an 8.5 out of 10. It is the Vibram outsole, as seen in the Hoka boots that I reviewed before. The traction on these boots are excellent. Very, very, very grippy. I'll give some shots of me coming downhill on these boots. The Vibram outer sole, in terms of a branded outsole, has gotten amazing reviews, showing great traction, great shock absorption, and I really agree with it. Outsole on this is a little thicker, almost like the Hokas, to be completely honest, but not as thick. Let's give you a shot of the back of the boot. Nice protection there, but yeah, the lugs are 5mm, which is the industry standard. As you can see, the lugs are in a weird pattern. However, like I said, I haven't had any issues with traction with these boots whatsoever, so it's working, whatever they're doing. One thing I wanted to point out is this part of the boot right here on the lateral aspect of the boot. This seems to kick up sometimes when you're moving through pretty rough surfaces, and I don't know if that is a technological error or if it's the way they made this boot, but this part can actually lift up on you a little bit, so that's something just to be aware of. It may reduce your traction a little bit, but it's nothing to worry about. We tested these boots in wet mud, dry mud, and different rocky terrains. Like I said, absolutely no slipping. Let's give the flexibility test on these boots. So these boots are pretty stable. They're not overall rigid. So like I've explained in videos before, you want a rigid boot and one that's slightly flexible. What you want is it to be flexible enough so when you're walking that it can conform to how your normal gait is. If it's too rigid, then you really have to press down and get the boot to flex, but you want a natural flex in your boot. What you don't want is a boot that's too flexible, especially when you're coming on surfaces. I really have to press hard here. When you're coming down on surfaces, you want the boot to not conform to the surface and crack under pressure like this, because then you'll lose your traction. You want something that's nice and rigid enough that's gonna hold that grippy traction on the area, because if the boot gives, you slip and fall. Overall protection, we rated this boot a 9.5 out of 10. The midsole is made from EVA foam, which is in a lot of boots. It is very cushiony. It is not the most plush. I would rate the plushiness out of this like an 8 out of 10, but it definitely contours to the shape of your foot. And when you press on it, it has some give to it, but not too much give, which is a good thing. There's also a heel lock feature, which it's hard to show in the back of this boot, but basically it holds the foam or the midsole in place so it doesn't slip up, as a lot of boots will do over time, and your sole will start to come out, unfortunately, and start moving inside the boot. But this has a heel lock feature which does not allow for that. I rated these boots the best at shock absorption. Like I said, I'm gonna give you some shots of me coming downhill on rocky terrain with this. I had no sore spots whatsoever. I was really impressed with the shock absorption of these boots. I would give it a jump test, basically where I jump about 3 to 4 feet in the air, landing on a rough surface, and kind of gauge what the shock feels like through my ankles and knees, and I seriously did not feel much whatsoever. So I definitely think these are the best shock absorbing boots that I have reviewed so far, and I will update you guys if I find a better boot in terms of shock absorption, but 10 out of 10 shock absorption. I usually get pain and soreness in my midfoot here on the lateral side when I'm coming downhill on a very rough terrain, and this is a shot at one of my favorite hiking spots of me coming downhill, and like I said, excellent shock absorption. I was really impressed. One thing that I did not love about this boot is while you're wearing it, they call this boot a mid, meaning it goes over your ankle. A low cut obviously is under the ankle. You want to wear a mid for more ankle protection, and a low usually is for more lightweight boots or even trail runners, so you can move faster and they have less stability in the ankle. One thing I noticed is this does not cover my full ankle. It covers about 3/4 of my ankle. Now, given that, I did not have any issues with ankle stability or sprains, but I just wanted to bring that point up, that if you do notice that this mid does not cover your full ankle, that's the reason why, and just be careful when you're coming downhill, especially that's where most people sprain their ankles. Water resistance, we rated this a 10 out of 10. What I really like is that Merrell did not go ahead with the Gore-Tex membrane, which works great for water resistance, don't get me wrong, but they used their own branded water membrane, and it worked great in our 10-minute submersion test. By not using the Gore-Tex membrane, they have much better breathability in these boots. A lot of people will complain online with Gore-Tex membranes, or you'll see a boot rated GTX, which is just short for Gore-Tex membrane, that they are very warm and they do not breathe whatsoever. They're not vented well whatsoever because of that Gore-Tex membrane. This is Merrell's own waterproof membrane, and it works great, and its breathability is better than most Gore-Tex membrane boots, so I just wanted to bring that portion up. Also, to be mentioned, there is a non-waterproof version of this boot that you can purchase. These are the waterproof version. Weight, we rated these a 7 out of 10. We weighed them in at 2.1 pounds in a men's 10.5. Usually when you have boots that weigh more, there's more protection, which is completely amendable to these boots. They are definitely on the higher range of protection, so you have to give up some weight. Fit, we rated these at 8.5 out of 10. There's a well-fitting toe box, like I said. The midsole. One area I wanted to bring up is my left foot has a slightly higher arch, so I did experience some soreness in that after about 5 hikes that went away, so I think that had to do more with the breaking in of this boot, so that's just something to keep in mind. I did not have to size up or size down. Design and aesthetics, the boots are made out of a combination of leather and mesh. What I like about these boots is most boots will start with the mesh material at the bottom and just work their way up towards the leather, and that's it. This has integrated mesh and leather all around, which I I really thoroughly enjoyed, because I think a lot of companies are afraid of putting leather on the bottom of the boots because that's where people have trouble with breathability. Usually synthetic is more breathable, leather isn't. But like I said, since they didn't use a Gore-Tex membrane, they used their own waterproof membrane. I think that's why they put the leather down in this area. And like I said, it's nicely sewn in, beautiful material, and there's been no signs of breakdown on this boot whatsoever. Durability, we rated this a 10 out of 10. We've had zero wear and tear with this boot. As you can see, the tread has taken some beating on it, but it's still holding up great. It still grips great to this day. Let me give you a shot of the back of the boot. No breakdown in the ankle cuff area, because a lot of people will have a lot of breakdown, especially in this area, which could cause some irritation. But 10 out of 10. The outsole has been amazing, and I've had zero complaints in terms of durability of this boot. So who are the Merrell Moab 3s for? Honestly, they're for any sort of hiker. Beginners, I would definitely recommend these boots. They're $140. They're pretty affordable compared to most boots. If you're someone who's going to be going on long treks like 12 to 15 miles multiple days of the week, then maybe these aren't the boots for you. To want something that's more on the heavier and stable side, like the Salomon Quest 4s, which is just a bigger boot. Overall, this is an excellent boot. It has excellent traction, stability, and comfort, and I'm just really happy with this boot and what Merrell has done on the third iteration of this model. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Please like and subscribe, and if you'd like to purchase these boots, there's a link down below in the description. Thank you again.